Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 12. I can't believe we're almost 2 weeks deep into this adventure. And welcome to Moab. We are in Moab, Utah, one of my absolute favorite places in the whole world. And today we're gonna go exploring. One of the things I love about Moab, and I've been here quite a bit. This is one of the places that I keep coming back to over and over and over again. One of the things I love about it here is there's something to do for everyone. So if you're just a tourist and you just want to go and explore national parks or see the sights, go out to fancy restaurants, you can do that here in Moab. If you're a hiker, there's tons of hiking in Moab. If you're a rock climber, there's tons of rock climbing in Moab. If you're a hardcore wheeler, there's tons of stuff in Moab. And so one of my goals while I'm here is to do things that are fun for the Pajero Mini. I've come out here in the Pajero, I've come out here in the Gen 3, I've come out here on dirt bikes and adventure bikes, and there's all different exploring that you can do, all different trails, all different systems and areas of Moab you can do that are fun on those, but I want to do something that's fun in this, and maybe something that I wouldn't normally do if I was here on an adventure bike, a dirt bike, or in a rock crawler. So I think I found some trails that are a mix between mild and wild, some stuff where it's definitely going to be fun, it's definitely going to be challenging, and I can get into some hairy stuff if I want to, but nothing crazy. Oh man, this guy's stoked on it. I just got passed by one of the tow trucks here in town and he's checking out the Pajero Mini. That's so sick. Hopefully he doesn't have to come find me later. I'm all fueled up, ready for adventure. It is definitely cold out here. Woke up with lots of frost on the tent. I think we got a little bit of rain last night and all of that froze. It's definitely getting into the season where I need to be mindful of this, and it looks like there's a bunch of snow just north of me in Colorado, in Utah, in Montana. So that'll make things interesting. But for now, I'm down in the desert. It's starting to warm up here a little bit, and I'm gonna go play. So I'm headed to the Rim Rocker Trail right now, which is actually a trail that you can go all the way into Colorado on. It's just dirt. It's like 170 miles of dirt, meandering through the back towns to get you into Colorado. I'm not gonna go that far because I'm not trying to get to Colorado, but I'm gonna hit that for a little bit, and then I'm gonna pop out above Cane Creek, which is a trail I've done in the Pajero, a much more serious trail than this Pajero Mini can handle. But I'm gonna go look at that and drive around there and explore a little bit. All right, I'm on the Cane Creek Overlook Trail, and we found rocks. I'm so excited to drive on some rocks. I'm sure this doesn't look like much on video, but this was a very fun little obstacle. Getting down it isn't that concerning. Getting back up is gonna be a little bit of a challenge, but I think there's enough rocks here that I can stack it. But it just forced me to be so careful, pick my line just right. Oh, this is fun. Today's hot dogger meal is fried chicken, and man, does it hit the spot with this view. So right below me here, that's Cane Creek, and that's one of the prettier trails in the area. And right now you can see like all of the colors are changing down there. You just kind of follow this creek all the way up into this canyon. And I've done it in the Pajero before, and it's probably just a little more than I want to handle in the Pajero Mini. But that thing is so cool. It's awesome to be up here. When I was down there, I had no idea that you could even drive up here. So I'm sitting here admiring the canyon, and I hear some voices, and I look across, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to catch this on video, but there's some people over there. And so I was wondering what was going on. I got my binoculars out and I was looking, and people have strung a highline from that side of the canyon to the other side of the canyon, and there's somebody out there right now crossing the thing. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to catch this on video. That's so insane. Yeah, there's just no way to catch it on video, but there's literally a high line going from here to here right now. There was a bunch of people on this side and they've moved across the canyon and now they're all over here. If you don't know what a high line is, it's basically a slack line, but a slack line you would have between like two trees or something in a park. And a high line is one that's significantly higher off the ground and usually much longer. And if you're not even familiar with what a slack line is, it's just basically a ratchet strap. It's a special ratchet strap, but it's a ratchet strap. And these guys have this thing strung out across this entire canyon. It's just insane. This is what I love about Moab. I'm out here, I'm crawling around in the Pajero Mini, and I'm challenging myself, and I'm having a good time. There's people down here in Cane Creek who are doing a harder trail, and they're having a good time. And then there's these guys that strung a slack line across this enormous canyon, and they're having a good time. It just seems like there's so much adventure happening all the time out here. There's just so many limits that are being pushed and boundaries that are being pushed. What an amazing place. So I've reached the end of this trail and I'm so glad I did, because seeing those guys on that high line was sweet. Looking down to Cane Creek was sweet. But the climb out of here is gonna be challenging. I was able to make it down, but gravity helps with that. Now I have to go back up. And I don't think I've bitten off more than I can chew, but there's only one way to find out. I made it through most of the obstacles there. Whew! That was some challenging wheeling for this little thing. And I'm not very good at wheeling a stick shift that only makes power above 3,000 RPM. So I'm still learning that. And the small tires mean you just really have to commit to stuff. You got to hit stuff with a little more speed than I'm used to. When you got a big 35, you can kind of just roll over stuff. But this one, you need a little bit of get up and go to climb those things that are, maybe only 6 to 8 inches tall, but you need a little momentum. But oh man, if you don't push the limits, you don't know where it's at. And this thing can do way more than I can do. So that's pretty rad. I'm making my way over to the next trail, and this road is not difficult really at all. It's just kind of low and slow, but the scenery out here is pretty epic. Just so cool to see all these rock formations, the view stretching out in the distance. It's a beautiful bluebird day, so I'm loving it. So I'm turning onto a trail called Behind the Rocks, and this one's supposed to be a little more serious. I think it's more that there's a few really good obstacles. This comes off of, I think, the hardest trail in Moab, Pritchett Canyon. And I'm gonna go down and explore. I'm gonna see. I might get shut down pretty early. Who knows? But I figure I'm out here. I might as well go exploring. All right, this is what I'm talking about. This thing looks steep. I gotta investigate. I cannot believe that I just made it up that hill. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I am leaking some kind of oil, transmission fluid or diff fluid or something. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Amazing. Upon further inspection, it appears that it is maybe transmission fluid leaking out from under there. And it looks like it's just coming out of the back. Probably just because of the severe angle. I haven't seen it dripping anywhere else, so I'll drive it for a little bit and see how it goes, but I'm gonna have to top that off. This thing is blowing my mind. I cannot believe how capable it is out on this trail. Video never does it justice, but that angle that I was going up, that really big hill that I stalled out on a couple times, I got my level out on my phone and I checked it and it was at 40 degrees. I mean, that is extreme, and I had to get quite a bit of speed because this thing only really makes power when it's in the boost, but it still climbed it. And I'm out here completely alone, mind you. I don't see anyone else on this trail. Oh my gosh, this thing is killing it. What a fun adventure. Now this trail keeps going on and it does intersect, like I said, with Pritchett Canyon, but Pritchett is one way. At least that's what makes sense, is to do it one way. And it's way too hard for this. I don't have a winch or anything and I don't really feel like just beating the crap out of it. I've barely hit anything on this. I've bumped the cross member for the transmission a couple times and the skid plate, but not very much. And I've barely kissed the slider and the front bumper. I mean, I'm barely touching anything. It's crazy. The biggest problem is those tiny tires. If it had a little bit bigger tires and a little bit better low end, this thing feels like it'd be unstoppable. But the phrase "quit while you're ahead" is coming to mind. And even though there's a couple different routes I could take and there's some hard stuff, there is a way to get back to the main dirt here coming up. So I think I'm gonna take that and stop while I'm ahead. But man, this thing is so good. Well, so much for the easy route out. Turns out there's all sorts of obstacles here. I'm looking at this one, and this is my first legitimate ledge. That's probably 2.5 feet tall. I don't think I can climb that. That's about the size of my tire. However, I might be able to squeeze through here with enough gumption. It looks like that's what people have been doing. I can kind of pick my line right here. I'm pretty nervous about that rock and my door. I don't know if I can fit between there. It'd be real tight. I might have to climb on top of this rock to get out. My other alternative is over there. That's not a ton better. There ain't nothing to it but to do it. Well, I've got it lined up, and I'd have to move this passenger tire over just a bit to clear this. And that puts me like right here. I just feel like I'm gonna be wedged between that rock, and I'd have to get up on top of that, but it's really risky and it's pretty steep. Again, video doesn't do it any kind of justice, but I just don't know if the Pajero Mini has it in it, and I don't know if it's worth the risk. I did find a little bypass over there. It's not a ton easier, but it is theoretically possible to get up over this. Believe it or not, this is the bypass to the hard stuff. So I'm officially out of my league, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I might give this one shot and then go and try that if this doesn't work. Oh, I think I've got that. right, that's as sendy as I want to get. I was just getting stuck on this rock. I was actually able to make it up that, which is amazing. But then my tires would hit that and I was trying to climb in the rear and oh, it's so close. It wanted it, but I don't have the skills. So I'm gonna try that bypass and hopefully it's easier. Worried about that. I've officially got myself into a little bit of a situation. This hill is pretty steep and this is just loose sand. And I'm trying to go up this and I'm trying to launch it up there, but I'm just digging in. I can't get any traction in this. And therefore I can't climb those rocks. And right now I'm stuck kind of between this tree, which isn't a very significant tree, and the body of it's just right there. And this, and then I can go down there, but that's pretty cliffy and that's pretty cliffy. So the goal right now is to keep a bad situation from getting worse. I think my best line is actually probably right here. There's rocks here so I can grip something. If I can line up and get a little bit of a run up to it, should be able to crawl over there. Otherwise, I might be able to pivot and come back around and then just go back down the trail where I came from. Both options are good. Both options involve going backwards towards this tree. And if I get stuck between the tree and the uphill, there's no telling whether or not I can get out of it. So I'm gonna crank the wheels and try to angle as far back that way as I can and either set up for this line or go back down. I wish I had caught that on video. I just did a sweet pivot turn and now I'm actually in a pretty good spot. I've decided I am not gonna try to go up this. I have no idea what is on the other side of this, and it could be just more of this or worse. Even though the stuff I just came through looks pretty hard, I think it's safer to go back through it. So I'm going to meander down that way and go back the way I came. And for those of you following along at home thinking, this guy is an idiot, let me just ask you this. How's your view from the couch? I'm on an adventure and I'm having fun. And I haven't done anything so stupid that I can't recover from it yet. Oh my. No, seriously, I'm trying to balance the riskiness of like, hey, I'm out here, I'm wheeling, this is part of the game, you gotta try hard stuff. And I really don't wanna blow anything up. I don't wanna be stranded. I gotta be a little bit smart, but I have to have fun. You gotta have fun. I'm out here having fun. Gotta make it over that rock, sweet. Rear end is sliding out on me here. Just gotta keep it mostly straight. Oh yeah. All right, okay, we're back on the trail. Woohoo! I still gotta get out of here, but hey, that was pretty cool. Turns out I might have been mistaken. I think this is the bypass route. It's definitely a different route than the one I was on, and it's definitely different than the one I just came from. So I'm gonna follow this one for a little bit and be a little more cautious before getting too committed. But it appears on the map that this is probably a more viable option for the bypass. Got an update on the leaky transmission situation. It's not leaking anymore. It still smells like gear oil, but I'm not dripping anything. It's not getting any worse. It must have just been that severe angle had it leaking out of the back of either the tail housing or maybe even where the shifter goes in. I'm not 100% sure. I'm also not sure I lost enough for it to even matter. It was just a few drips. Either way, I'll have to check that level when I get back to town. All right, maybe I am an idiot. This is the bypass road, and it's much easier. It's still very fun. Got rocks everywhere, having to crawl over stuff and think critically about lines, but there's no giant ledges, and it does look like, according to my map, that this will get me outside of the major obstacle, which is the white knuckle one. in a cruel and twisted turn of fate, it turns out that I have not avoided White Knuckle Hill at all. In fact, I found myself directly on top of it. So now I need to evaluate whether or not this is an obstacle that I can even attempt. Yeah, this is a pretty big hill. And I can see how if you're trying to go up this would be very challenging. However, going down it might be a little bit easier. Keyword is might. Gravity helps, but wheel placement is everything, and I have very low ground clearance. This right here, I'm not worried about. If I keep my tire right here, the only thing I'd be worried about is hitting my diff, or not my diff, but the front cross member right there. And if I do it slowly, I mean, it'll hit and it'll drag. It'll go through. I won't flip anywhere. I've got plenty of places to put my tires. You can see lots of rubber there. And then up here, similar situation. Just got to go low and slow. I mean, as slow as I can get. This is a crazy angle right here. You got to really trust the car. And I'll be on this side, so I'll be able to see where I'm going. Like I said, if I just angle it down like that. But before I even get there, I got to get through here. I don't know if I come straight down this or if I go around here. I need to spend some time thinking about this. I am re-inspired to try this because I can see on my map a clear road, like not even an off-roading trail, just like a dirt road, and it's just down this hill. So I know, I can see it visually. Right now, it's right in front of me. I know if I can get down this hill, I can get out. But if I go down this hill, I can't go back up it. I guess we'll see. Just gotta go for it. Let's go! Let's go! Oh my gosh, that's the craziest thing! Woo! Yes! I'm so stoked. That was awesome. It actually did really good. I have no idea how it's going to turn out in the videos, but that hill is no joke. It's at least 3 Pajero Minis tall. And I was just, oh my gosh. This thing's a beast. An absolute beast. Oh boy. I walked a little further down the trail. And I think this is White Knuckle Hill. This is wild. There are some big rocks out here. Oh my, this Pajero is so small. There are some big rocks down here. I've got to figure this out. This is still all downhill. I could probably put my tire here. I mean, that's steep. It goes to flat. I think the wheelbase would be just long enough. Come down here. Could probably straddle these rocks. Straddle this here. And then you just have this drop. And the rest of it's not too bad. There's the county road, literally right there. That road is like that. It just goes on for the rest of the time. Oh boy. And this is it from the bottom. You can see none of this is any more challenging than that first part. It's going downhill. The Pajero Mini will fit perfect in a couple of these spots. I think I can do it. This is why you walk the trail beforehand, which I should have done. I should have done a long time ago. It's obviously not an ideal situation to be in. I'm still having fun though. This is gonna be crazy. I'm almost out of the woods. I'm almost out of the woods. I think this is the spot I'm the most nervous about. It's just very steep. And I'm very short. And so once I go rolling down, I've got to keep my momentum. I don't think it's steep enough that if I break at the bottom, I'll flip over. We got to give it a shot. You know the trail is serious when there's a winch point in the rocks. All right, Pajero Mini, time to shine. All right, Lord, please, please, please. Please, please, please let this go well. Right there. We did it! Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh. We did it. We made it down. Just did a health check on the Pajero Mini, and there were a lot of bumps and scrapes on that drop. But it's fine. It got the skid plates, that's for sure. A little bit of front bumper, a little bit on the sliders, and a little bit on the cross member. But nothing crazy, no body damage, nothing looks bent or twisted. The CVs are fine, the axle is fine, even the tie rods look straight. It's driving straight. I can't believe it. I think earlier today I would have been like, oh wow, look at this obstacle, but now I'm kind of like, oh, whatever. The Pajero Mini can crawl up it, no problem. However, this is the part of the trail where I need to be really careful, really cautious, because I'm all hyped up on adrenaline, the sun is starting to set, and so I'm eager to get home, but you can still make just as many mistakes, if not more mistakes out here. So, slow and steady, gotta pick good lines, and make my way out of here in one piece. Okay, it's not a county road, but according to the app I'm using, Trails Off Road, I am now on a track that is green. I was on one that was red, like clearly marked hard. This one is labeled green, so it should be, keyword is should, be pretty easy to get out. It's not gonna be quick, it takes me quite a bit out of the way, but at least I can do it. Or at least that's what I'm hoping. I'm putting a lot of faith in maps. I really hope they don't let me down. So the trail is easier, definitely easier. I wouldn't call it a highway. It's still got obstacles in it, but honestly, it's very fun. It's a very fun trail. It's just slow going. Sun has set. It's officially, the sun has officially gone down, and I'm losing light here. And one of the things about these trails in Moab is sometimes when the sun goes down, it's pretty hard to follow them because everything is a rock. So you can barely see it here, but there are some white marks on the rocks to show you where you're going. Sometimes you can follow the black tire marks, but thankfully I've been following some pretty recent dirt bike trails, or some dirt bike tracks that have been going through here. It looks like 3 or 4 bikers came through here not too long ago, and I've been able to follow them through the dirt. It's so crazy. I've been driving on this road now, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours. And this morning I was like pretty nervous about it, just not sure how the Pajero Mini would do. I was getting out and I was looking at all sorts of obstacles, and I was talking about how, oh man, I'm just not very good at driving with the modulating the clutch and the throttle, and it's gotta be in the boost and all this. And now it's just crushing it. I've learned a lot more about what the car likes, the kind of momentum I need to hit it with, the speed, the RPM, where it's got ground clearance, where it doesn't have ground clearance, like right there. I feel like I've grown so much as a driver in the last 6 hours. So that's super encouraging, and I'm having a ton of fun, and this thing's just, it keeps blowing my mind. It's so much more capable than I ever would have dreamed. It's just crazy. So with the sun setting, with the trail being a little harder to navigate, I'm gonna focus up, just keep chugging away at this, and hopefully get off this trail sometime soon. Well, it took me like 2 hours, but I'm finally back on a track that I've been on before. This is the loop where I was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go try this harder track. Let's see what it's all about. I was on this road like 5 hours ago. Finally back on it. It should be, fingers crossed, smooth sailing from here on out. Obviously, it is completely dark out here. Night has completely fallen. It's not that late at night though. It's maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I've still got plenty of time. I'm hoping to meet a friend in Moab for dinner. Yeah, hopefully this is as smooth as it looks. I am back to civilization. I made it to a paved road, and oh my gosh, I'm so sore. That was an adventure for sure. I'm thrilled that we made it out. I am loving wheeling the Pajero Mini. It does really, really good. It's definitely got its limitations. You know, I can't climb a lot of stuff, but going down that hill was amazing. Now, I know I basically just fell off a rock. Like, that's, some people will say that's not really wheeling, but honestly, that was so much fun. Like, it was just intense. I had to know the car really well. I had to know when to give it brake, a little bit of steering input, where to line everything up, and that was so fun for me. Now, I did break a classic rule. I went down something that I couldn't go up. And you should not do that if you're off-roading. You should only go down something if you think you can turn around and go back up it. And I trusted a map without previewing the route. I didn't look up any YouTube videos, didn't talk to anyone, and I ended up getting into a little more than I could handle. Now, I say more than I could handle, but we made it out, and that's awesome. This was not the easy sightseeing day that I thought it was going to be, which I'm actually grateful for, because I was a little concerned this morning that today was going to be boring, well, it was anything but boring. Now, I'm airing up the tires right now. I'm about 15 minutes outside of Moab, and I'm not out of the woods yet because I have to see how this thing drives on the highway now. The motor's running fine. The transmission seems like it's shifting all good. Like, everything seems really happy. I'm really worried about the tie rods though. There was just a couple times where I took some big hits, and the steering wheel, I don't know. Everything looks straight, but there's only one way to find out. So I'm gonna get some air in these tires and head into town. I can't believe it. This thing runs like nothing happened. I've got a slight pull to the driver's side, which is to the right side here in the United States. Well, in this car, it's to the right side. I can't tell if that's the curvature of the road or if my alignment is off, but it's not shaking any more than it was before. The steering wheel is dead straight. I'm cruising at 55 miles an hour. I can even hit 65. Oh my gosh, the Pajero Mini might be the best car I own. I figured out why the steering wheel is pulling to one side. It's my best friend, the crosswind. So it's turned into be a kind of a windy night here. Hopefully that doesn't blow away my tent. But yeah, that's why it's pulling, is sometimes it's going straight and then it'll have a gust and it'll pull to the side. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it here for this video. I'm so tired. I'm not even gonna have a campfire tonight. I went out and grabbed a burger and a beer with my friend, and that was awesome. Good to catch up with him. He's actually a Montero guy. We might go wheeling tomorrow. Believe it or not, I'm still going to wheel this thing tomorrow. I got one more day in Moab. I'm gonna make it count. But today's adventure was so fun. Risky, definitely. Unexpected, for sure. A little bit stupid, or even a lot of bit stupid. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Like, it was a little bit outside of my comfort zone. But here's something I come back to, is I did make it out, and that's great. And if I hadn't, the story would be a little different. You know, I'd have to figure out how to get a recovery vehicle in there and all that, but we could have figured it out. At no point was my life in danger. There was always going to be a way out. But for me, when I go on adventures like this, when I do things where I'm really pushing my limit, where I'm putting myself in challenging situations where I got to stay cool and collected, I got to really learn the vehicle, I got to figure out, I got to problem solve, like, that stuff makes me come alive. I love that stuff. And every time I do something like that, I walk away a little bit smarter because I know what I would and wouldn't do again. But also I just have tons of confidence that, like, I can do this. At the beginning of this video, at the beginning of today, you guys heard me and watched me struggle with wheeling the Pajero Mini, just not knowing how to do it and wasn't really sure. And now I am so confident in this thing. And after all we've been through, the fact that it would cruise on the highway coming back at 65 with no issues, it's like it never went off-road today. That is just blowing my mind. It's so fun for me. It's fun for me to grow as a person. It's so fun for me to have these experiences in this crazy car. And I am so glad that I took the time to film it today so that I can remember this for years and years to come. Today really fits into the category for me of something that I want to live by, which is do things today that you'll talk about tomorrow. And this is something that I'm going to talk about for a long, long time. So thanks for joining me in today's video, guys. I'll catch you guys in the morning.